How's it going, guys? Shape here, and welcome to the channel. This video is going to go over some gold farms that have increased in value recently. They are mainly due to the relics of the past that are currently on the PTR and their vendor shuffles. If you guys aren't familiar with the vendor shuffles I'm talking about, then I would go check out this other video of mine for some reference. Myself and a lot of other gold makers are banking on the idea of these vendor shuffles being very lucrative once pre-patch hits if Blizzard doesn't make any changes to them. That is completely up in the air still, so I thought I would make a video to show the other side of it for those who just want to make some quick gold now and not have to worry about if anything happens to them in the pre-patch. This is definitely the best time to sell a lot of these items because so many others are stockpiling and the market value is increasing significantly. With all of that said, it will be server and region specific, so make sure you guys check out your auction houses and your markets before investing too much time into any of these. Most all of the relics of the past items have seen an increase in value recently, but there are some items that are selling faster than ever and have seen significant increases in their value. The first item I wanted to talk about was Runecloth. This is one of the tailoring relics of the past, and it has seen a pretty nice increase in sales price lately. Here's a chart showing the increase in price over time from the Undermined Journal in my region. Less than 2 weeks ago, the price of Runecloth was 70 silver. This is an old world material and didn't really have too much use anymore. This has changed quickly with the introduction of the relics of the past, and we have seen the price quadruple in the last few weeks. Runecloth is currently going for 2 gold and 90 silver in my region with a sales rate of 0.6 and over 2,000 sold daily. I believe Runecloth has become the go-to for a lot of players stockpiling because it is one of the relics of the past that only uses 5 materials per relic. Most of the others require 7 of the said material. On top of that, it is pretty easy to farm anyway. The best place I have found to farm Runecloth is in Blackrock Stronghold in the Burning Steeps. This is going to be the most efficient if you have a group to do it with. The orcs that are here will start to hyper spawn in 4 different spots around this area. Just have a member of your group kill the respected orcs in their area and you will start to see them spawn much faster. Now there is a specific way to do this and ensure everyone gets the most Runecloth they can. You want to not loot any of the corpses until your group is ready to go and loot. The best way to do this is to have someone do a 5-minute timer from the time everyone starts killing the mobs. Once that 5 minutes is up, you will go around to the different piles and loot all of the corpses. The reason you want to do this is because mobs have a 5-minute despawn timer before the loot disappears. If you loot the mob in your zone before it is timed, then the other players are going to miss out on some of the mobs you killed. Other than that, the farm is pretty easy to do as you will pretty much one-shot them off respawn. Per hour of doing this, you will have around 3,000 Runecloth doing this method. With the Runecloth selling for right under 3 gold per, that is a little under 9,000 gold per hour in just Runecloth. You will also get a decent amount of Mage Weave cloth. Even though it doesn't sell as well as the Runecloth, it will still be another 3,000 gold or so in just Mage Weave cloth. That means you will average around 12,000 gold per hour with just the cloth from this farm. Now you guys can choose to keep the Runecloth if you want to stockpile it for your potential vendor shuffles, or you can try to sell it on the auction house for those looking to stockpile themselves. With such an increase in the price over the last few weeks, it might not be a bad idea to think about selling this and taking advantage of those who are just trying to take a gamble on the vendor shuffles. Again, there is nothing saying Blizzard won't change the pricing on the vendor shuffles when pre-patch does go live. Either way, this is a good farm for Runecloth right now, and I've already started to see quite a few groups for Blackrock Stronghold farming in Group Finder. A second item I wanted to talk about with you guys was Deep Sea Satin. This is another one of the tailoring relics of the past, and it has seen a huge increase in price lately. Here's a chart showing the increase in price over time from the Undermined Journal in my region. Less than 2 weeks ago, the price of Deep Sea Satin was 65 silver. There was an overabundance in the market and not really any use for it this late in the expansion. Well, that has quickly changed as the closer we get to pre-patch and the more people that are starting to figure out about the relics of the past and are starting to stockpile. In that little under 2 weeks of time, the price of the Deep Sea Satin has gone all the way from 65 silver to 5 gold and 30 silver in my region. The craziest thing about all of this is it is actually selling pretty consistently at the higher rate. There are over 20,000 sold daily in my region at a 0.6 sales rate. Some players are even trying to control the market right now by buying up everything lower than a certain price and reposting it for higher. I have found some pretty decent spots to farm the deep sea satin, as it isn't the most common piece of cloth that drops all the time. You will end up getting a bunch of tide spray cloth in the process, but for some reason this too has seen a decent increase in overall price recently. My guess is players are using it to craft and scrap to get expulsum, but there could be another reason that I haven't thought of yet. If you are a solo player and don't like group content, then the best place I have found to farm deep sea satin is by doing normal freehold. I have covered the freehold carries a lot in the past, and this is the exact same thing, but you don't need to bring someone to carry along with you this time. All you will do is pull all of the mobs in freehold on normal difficulty and kill them all. Depending on the character's gear, this can take as little as 4 minutes a run. This will require you to do the whole dungeon in 3 to 4 pulls and have a pretty good AoE to kill all the mobs at a decent rate. This means you will hit your 10 instances per hour lockout at around 40 minutes and won't be able to do another until the hour is up. As long as you are doing these runs in 6 minutes or less, then you can still keep that lockout window and get the most per hour. If your character isn't a tailor, then it is going to yield you a lot less deep sea satin per hour than if the character you bring is. For instance, I did some runs on a non-tailored character, and per run I was averaging around 2 to 3 deep sea satin. That means over the course of 10 runs I could expect to get between 20 and 30 deep sea satin. Definitely not ideal, as that really isn't anything in terms of gold per hour. Now if you did this with a tailor, then you would end up having around 20 deep sea satin a run. I compared this over a few different characters and even had a guild member help me out with some of these findings. Shout out to Stout if you're watching. There are also the 2x4 farms in Vol'dun if you are looking to do something with other players that will net you a little bit more deep sea satin per hour. There's also the chance of the mount drop in Vol'dun from these, as well as a ton of tide spray and greens. So if you don't mind grinding the same mob over and over around a monk statue for a few hours, then this farm might be more worth your while. In the end, you will probably end up making more gold from just the raw gold side of things, so this isn't going to be anywhere near the gold per hour to make it worth farming this one, but I wanted to point it out to you guys in case you were stockpiling these or had an abundance saved up for some reason, that you could go make a good profit right now off of it instead of just the 65 silver it was selling for a few weeks ago. Personally, if all possible, I would stick with the Runecloth farm, as this is going to net you a higher gold per hour, but if the deep sea satin is selling better on your server or is less competitive, then you guys now have a backup. This is really an interesting time in the market right now, as we just don't know which side to be on. On the one hand, there will be tons of gold to be made if you stockpile the items for the relics of the past and it ends up being in the pre-patch. On the other hand, if it doesn't make it to live servers, then there's going to be a ridiculous amount of these that players don't need anymore, and they will try to dump back into the market. I enjoy the unknown and the gamble, so this is definitely holding my interest for now. Well, there you have it guys, the items that I have found to have a significant increase to their costs in the last few weeks. I might do a follow-up video to some other items if I find any other ones that are also increasing. I hope you guys enjoyed, and don't forget to subscribe and drop a like if you enjoyed the video to show some love for the channel, and I'll catch you guys next time.